In early 1940, Europe was already at war. Decisions were made in rooms without windows. One mission was approved without evidence, without verification, and without delay. Its consequences unfolded quietly, and were later forgotten. In the spring of 1940, Europe stood on the edge of collapse. Germany had already demonstrated a new kind of warfare. Speed. Confusion. Shock. Governments reacted faster than their intelligence could confirm facts. In London, information arrived fragmented.
The situation is critical. We must act decisively
Reports
and without
contradicted
hesitation.
each
Our
other.
orders are clear, and failure is
Time was
not an option.
treated as the rarest resource. British military and intelligence structures were under extreme pressure. Traditional reconnaissance was failing. Front lines shifted too quickly. Diplomacy lagged behind events on the ground. Commanders demanded answers that did not exist yet. Intelligence officers filled gaps with assumptions. Within this atmosphere, a proposal emerged. A limited covert mission into occupied Europe. Its purpose was narrow on paper. Verify the existence of a rumored logistical hub supporting German advances. The report that triggered the idea came from a single source. Unverified. No photographs. No secondary confirmation. No independent corroboration. Under normal circumstances, the proposal would have stalled. Requests for clarification would follow. Additional sources would be demanded. But 1940 was not normal. France was destabilizing. Allied coordination was weakening. Fear of missing an opportunity outweighed fear of being wrong. The approval process was rushed. Senior officers skimmed summaries instead of full reports. Questions were postponed. The phrase temporary authorization appeared in the margins. No one signed their full name. Responsibility dissolved across departments. The mission profile was intentionally vague. A small team. Plain uniforms adapted for civilian blending. No heavy equipment. No extraction guarantee. It was described as observational, though its real expectations were unclear even to those approving it. The operatives selected were experienced but uninformed. They were told only what was necessary. That the mission had been cleared at the highest levels. That time was critical. That silence was mandatory. They were not told how thin the evidence was. On the map, the target location was marked with a simple circle. No annotations. No explanation of why that place, or why now. The assumption was that confirmation would come once boots touched the ground. In reality, the mission was approved not because it was proven necessary, but because uncertainty had become intolerable. Doing something felt safer than waiting. As preparations continued, Europe changed again. Borders tightened. Rail lines were monitored. German patrols increased. The window for movement narrowed. Still, the order remained active. No revision followed. No reassessment. The mission moved forward, carried by momentum rather than clarity. At this point, nothing had gone wrong yet. Nothing had been proven right either. The team crossed into occupied territory under false documentation. The method was improvised. Routes were chosen based on outdated maps. Local conditions had already changed. Checkpoints appeared where none were expected. Patrol schedules were inconsistent. Nothing matched the briefing. Communication with London was limited by design. Short transmission windows. Coded phrases. Long delays. The first report confirmed only one thing. The original intelligence could not be verified. Instead of aborting, instructions shifted. The mission was quietly redefined. Observation became confirmation. Confirmation became interference. The team was asked to stay longer, to move closer, to take risks not included in the initial approval. On the ground, the operatives sensed the flaw. The alleged hub showed no signs of activity. Warehouses were empty. Rail traffic was minimal. Locals avoided questions. Silence became the dominant signal. Yet headquarters interpreted silence differently. Absence of evidence was reframed as concealment. The assumption hardened. If nothing was visible, it must be hidden. Additional orders arrived. The team was instructed to reposition. Closer to a transport junction. Closer to German-controlled infrastructure. This required movement during daylight. Forged papers were used repeatedly. Each use increased exposure. German counterintelligence activity intensified across the region. Random inspections increased. Identity checks became frequent. The team noticed patterns forming against them. They were no longer invisible. A critical decision was made remotely, based on incomplete reports and outdated assumptions. The team was ordered to make direct contact with a supposed local intermediary. The intermediary did not exist. This was the moment when the mission crossed its invisible line. From intelligence gathering into vulnerability. The approval that launched it did not account for adaptation. It assumed reality would align with the initial premise. The operatives hesitated. They requested clarification. No response came in time. Transmission windows closed. Movement continued. German patrols intercepted one team member. Documents were examined longer than usual. A delay occurred. The remaining operatives withdrew temporarily. Protocol dictated suspension. Orders did not reflect protocol anymore. Headquarters, distant and abstracted, still treated the mission as viable. The original approval remained active. No one revoked it. No one took responsibility for stopping it. The mission continued not because it was succeeding, but because it had already begun. The collapse was quiet. There was no firefight. No explosion. No dramatic signal. One by one, the operatives disappeared from contact. German security forces acted methodically. Surveillance replaced pursuit. Interrogation replaced arrest. Information was extracted slowly. Names were never officially recorded. The supposed target location was never used by German logistics. It had been misidentified. The original source was later suspected to be incorrect, not deceptive. A mistake amplified by urgency. When confirmation finally reached London, it arrived indirectly. Through silence. Through missed signals. Through schedules that no longer mattered. Internal reviews began without urgency. Files were marked inactive. The mission was classified deeper, not exposed. Failure without witnesses was easier to archive. No public acknowledgment followed. The mission had never officially existed. Losses were recorded under administrative language. Personnel unaccounted for. Operational outcome inconclusive. Strategic focus shifted elsewhere. New crises replaced old ones. 1940 did not allow reflection. The approval chain was never reconstructed. Signatures were missing. Verbal confirmations could not be traced. No single decision-maker could be identified. The operatives were not recovered. Their names appeared briefly in internal memoranda, then stopped appearing. What remained was paperwork. Thin. Incomplete. Ambiguous. The mission had failed not in execution, but at its birth. Approved without evidence. sustained without correction, ended without record. The mission ended without an announcement. There was no final report delivered to a room. No officer stood to explain what had happened. Instead, silence arrived first. Signals were missed. Schedules passed. Nothing followed. In London, clerks marked dates on calendars that no longer mattered. Radio operators logged empty windows. Transmission codes remained unused. No confirmation ever came. The files were not closed immediately. They remained open, suspended in uncertainty. Weeks passed. Then months. Eventually, a decision was made. Not to investigate. Not to recover. But to archive. Folders were moved. Labels were rewritten. The mission's designation changed from active to inactive. Then to restricted. Then to sealed. Names appeared briefly in internal correspondence. They were spelled carefully. They were never repeated. Later copies replaced names with numbers. Then numbers disappeared as well. No notifications were sent to families. No official status was assigned. The men were not declared dead. They were not declared alive. They simply stopped being mentioned. The location where the mission unfolded did not remain the same. Control shifted. Roads were repaired. Buildings were reused. What had once been watched so closely became ordinary again. The warehouses were cleared. The junction reopened. Trains passed through without stopping. No marker remained to suggest attention had ever been focused there. The original intelligence report was reviewed years later. Quietly. By someone who had not been present in 1940. The conclusion was brief. The source was unreliable. The information was insufficient. No correction followed. No amendment was issued. The approval that launched the mission was never formally questioned. It remained in the file. Stamped. And signed. Responsibility could not be assigned. The decision had been shared. Fragmented. Passed between desks and departments. No single moment could be identified where the mission should have stopped. And so it remained easier to forget. As the war continued, larger events demanded attention. Cities fell. Armies moved. Losses grew beyond counting. This mission was too small to matter. Too quiet to interrupt history. The men who disappeared were absorbed into statistics that did not include their story. They were not listed among victories. They were not cited among failures. They existed only in margins. Over time, even the margins faded. When the archive was reorganized decades later, the folder remained sealed. It was moved again. Then boxed. Then placed on a shelf rarely accessed. Dust settled. Paper aged. Ink lightened. The mission was never referenced in official histories. Never debated. Never corrected. What remained was absence. Not dramatic. Not deliberate. Just complete. A decision approved without evidence. A mission executed without certainty. An ending recorded without words. And in the silence that followed, history did what it often does. It forgot. Thank you for watching. New historical stories are published regularly.